they say all men are created equal. Shot! Master! I'll pull out the Glock! Full of suffering succotash, son!
It's one of your nuts hanging out of your shorts.
Real glass!
You have a father, but your father's dead.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Too Sweet podcast, and finally the team's back together. It's the two of us again this week. Estelle is back. Welcome back. Very glad to have
2 weeks off.
Yeah.
It feels like an absolute century, so I'm sorry if I've got a bit of a podcast rust, because it's so weird watching the show. In a way it's nice because I do note take, but then in a way I feel like, because for the, well, I wouldn't say past year, how long have we been doing this now? Coming up to maybe 11 months. You take it in a lot deeper when you start writing down notes and then talking about it afterwards, and I remember it a lot more. So apologies if I'm a bit like a bit rusty and there's things that I forget about, because I have been watching it, but it just I don't know, it just don't go in as much when you're not actually discussing it. It's really weird.
That is so true. It doesn't sink in as deep to your brain, does it? It's
Yeah.
not discussing it. I mean, even last week when I was doing it on my own, obviously I was still talking about it, and I can remember it, but it's still not as in depth as it was, because we didn't have a discussion back and forth things. And I know that last week there was things that I forgot to cover. Reading the comments, I was like, oh, I meant to say that and I forgot. So yeah, it's so much easier doing it, the two of us. So yeah, props to anyone who does a solo podcast, because that's really hard. But yeah, nonetheless, this is Dynamite review again. So yeah, should we jump straight into it?
Yeah, of course. So a lot's gone on in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We had the Hurt Syndicate coming out. This was their first live presentation in front of a crowd. Really cool to see that entrance. Loved the way that they were presented. Loved how Shelton and Lashley are sort of presented as equals.
Yes.
To the as underlings to MVP, as it were. And they were in the ring with Tony Schiavone, and they were just, not that much to say. They were talking about the significance of receiving one of their business cards, and yeah, they were just baiting Swerve, who then came out. He saw him restrained by the refs. He had the chain in hand and just extended a match offer to Lashley at Full Gear, which MVP quickly agreed to. This was really cool, really heated. Some people I saw a little bit of criticism to, why would he come out and just be like, Full Gear? I want a match. There needs to be a bit more build before he extends it off. I'm like, he's pissed off. He just got absolutely his ass handed to him the previous week. But of course he wants his proper revenge. And I just thought it was simple but great. I don't have that much to say about it, but really enjoying the Hurt Syndicate. Really looking forward to the match.
Yeah, me too. It was simple. It was how do you propose a match in the simplest yet most effective way? In my opinion, I just thought it was great, because there's no frills needed for this. It's perfectly explanatory why Swerve wants this match. And yeah, I thought MVP did a great job of putting over both Lashley and Benjamin, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great, and I thought it was great how we kicked off with this, seeing as though that's where we left off last week, and that's kind of what everyone was talking about. So that was the hot topic coming into this, and that was a great way to start the show. So yeah, and it was pretty quick, but it had a great impact.
Yeah, and everyone looks absolutely amazing. Everyone feels like a star, and I loved Swerve's presentation, just coming out, and just his eyes, his focus, with the chain, the visual. It's just fucking brilliant. So yeah, moving on, we had the Orange Cassidy video package for his match against Mox at Full Gear, and then we had the newly named Death Riders coming out. Orange made his entrance. He was waiting on the ramp, sort of just have an elongated entrance as it were. Claudio and Pat go to intervene, but they were baited because Darby cross-bodied off the tunnel, which was really, really fun. I liked it.
So
Lately,
wacky.
as the match went on, there was a spot where I was like, really? But towards the start, I was really into Darby, and he's definitely won me round a little bit more. And even as someone who might be, I wouldn't say like a hater or like it's just it's hard to like surmise how we feel about him. But as
He's
someone
not
who
our
is
favourite.
yeah, he's not like our cup of tea. He's like
Mm.
matcha. Like I wouldn't order it. Other people go mad for matcha, but it's like
You wouldn't
so
choose
I'm
him.
an iced latte, iced Americano type person. But
Take it or
maybe
leave
from
it.
time to time I might order a matcha now. What a shit analogy. But but yeah, I thought this was like a tasteful, high risk spot. Is my point, and I'm
Yeah,
here for
right.
going on the journey to him being world champion. Is what I'm trying to say in a roundabout
Okay.
way.
Yeah, yeah, that is valid because this spot was safe and it was also really fun. Like you didn't expect it,
Cool.
you didn't see it
Yeah.
coming. Like where the fuck did that come from? It reminded me of that meme of Marge Simpson jumping down the stairs and I don't know, maybe we can edit in a picture of that or something so people know what I'm on about. I'm not being crazy. But yeah, it makes me laugh every week. And maybe it's not supposed to make you laugh, maybe it's supposed to make you shocked, but that's the way I take it. And it's a good thing. I'm saying it in a good way. I'm not laughing at him.
Yeah.
But it's not like in a mocking way. It's like it's great. It's great.
It brings a bit of like lightheartedness and a bit of fun that,
Yeah.
the serious heels, the Death Riders, you're not getting that. So it's a nice sort of contrast. But yeah, this match was really really, really fun. Really enjoyed it. Um, just some great parts. I loved the diving DDT from Orange to Pac. I loved that point as well where Claudio was just manhandling Orange and he had the several backbreakers. Claudio just looked insane during this match. He's on another level, man.
I know, and especially I think him and Pac like just the perfect contrast with Darby and Orange because they're both sort of oh dare I say it like sort of skinny in comparison to them two.
Yeah.
So like the way that they could like you just said like manhandle them and the size and the strength difference, it was so like sort of satisfying to watch. Like how easy did they make it look? Claudio like throwing Darby around the ring like he was a bag of feathers. It was very satisfying to watch.
Yeah, and then the babyface is just throwing themselves at them repeatedly. I thought I
Yeah.
just loved the dynamic in this. I loved how there was very little let up. Everyone was so focused.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a standard. Even though we did get that awesome hot tag for Darby and the crowd was
That
on
was
fire, and
really,
that's
really, really
great.
hot tag.
Yeah, to see how behind the crowd are, but um, there was no let up. There was no playing by the rules, as it were. But then it didn't like descend into madness until it needed to. I loved how the heels were so focused on hurting him, and the babyfaces were so determined to win. There wasn't like I said, just any time wasted, any no one was just lying on the floor like generically waiting for their spot. Everyone was doing something at every moment in time. It was so authentic, so believable. It felt so like you really felt that the polarization of like good versus evil. It was so prevalent throughout this. I just thought it was a really, really effective.
Yeah, yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. And what you said about like there was no wasted time and people weren't like lying on the floor doing nothing. Totally agree. And one of the things that like I think stood out to me the most was when Pac was like covering Darby and Orange was trying to break it up, but Claudio was stopping him and like blocking him. So instead of these two just like falling asleep outside the ring, it was it was like active. It was active. Like Orange just trying to break it up, and Claudio stopping him. Yeah, yeah. Really agree with everything that he said. I think Pac and Darby really stood out to me as like two amazing sellers as well. Because obviously Darby was the one getting thrown
Yeah.
around a lot, but Pac is so good at selling. Like any move that he took. I mean, he's always been. He always is. Just yeah, great at selling offense.
Yeah, like I made reference to earlier, that diving DDT, the way he just landed, it was great. And uh Darby and Orange working in tandem with that stun dog to the Code Red and
Oh my god,
on
yeah.
Claudio, and it's just great. And I love how both of them are day ones of AEW, and that they are at the forefront of the storyline right now, and that obviously this is prepping us for Mox versus Orange at Full Gear, but without losing sight of the fact that, you know, wink wink, this is the real contender, this is the real hero, it's Darby, and allowing him to continue simmering in the background, as it were.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the way this match started, like with just a brawl, and it was just like every man for himself, and then it kicked off. It wasn't like a structured tag team match, like, oh, you start off with one person in their corner and one person in the other corner. It was just chaos from the very beginning. And I think it just had the same atmosphere as like the story as the whole time. It's like almost like anarchy sort of thing. It's just chaos.
Yeah, it makes total sense, doesn't it? Like, their personal vendettas are much greater, but the baby faces, like, they still want to win. Like, they still want to do it valiantly, but they have enough hatred and, like I say, enough of vendetta to which it gives the match a lot of edge. But then this perfect links into the next thing that I want to talk about, the interception of Marina Shafir, and then the descent. There's been criticism, especially I was watching the Rest Talk podcast today, and they were talking about how the constant interferences and DQs, and a criticism on that about how, you know, it's just predictable, like a BCC match, or I guess Death Rider match now, you're always going to get a DQ. But I would just like to say that I disagree with that, because it makes it's logical. Why would there not be a DQ? And this is my thing, like, it's not forced. I get that it's frustrating, but I think that's the whole point of it, is like, you felt edged, and this match was amazing, and it was getting into that next gear, and then you're denied, because they're not going to let you have that. They're not going to let you have that satisfaction of watching them get beat, because they're going to hold that off right till the end. Like, yeah, obviously you'd prefer to not see a DQ, but that's the whole point of it. And it's logical, because in kayfabe, of course, Marina Shafir and Mox are going to interfere if they see that Claudio and Pac are about to be pinned. Like, why would they not? So that's just my thoughts on it, but I don't know.
No, I think you're right, because I can understand, like, from watched like WWE at like a few years ago, where every
That was the
match,
whole thing about it, is like,
yeah,
it's like WWE-esque was the argument.
okay, yeah, and I understand that, like, when WWE did this a few years ago, where it was like, oh, can't, it's like 50-50 booking, we can't have anyone lose every, oh, it's DQ all the time. It's not like that to me. I feel like if AEW were doing it in all the time in loads of different feuds, then it'd become annoying. But in this, I agree with you. It makes sense. It's not constant. It's these characters doing character shit. You know what I mean? Like, they're getting involved because they don't want to lose, and also, like, how it would be pretty shitty for either one of these teams to lose in this match. Like, let's be honest. Like, you could put criticisms in that anyway you look at it. Like, whoever got pinned. So I thought it was a great match. Yes, an indecisive ending, which can be a bit anticlimactic, but I thought it was a dramatic and exciting ending, which is what you want and need from this. So I don't have a problem with it. I thought it was entertaining.
Yeah, it wasn't just a simple DQ of, oh, this person interferes, the match gets called off, and then there's like a pull apart brawl. The brawl itself had a lot of different elements. So Marina Shafir interfered with the briefcase. Mox was choking Orange Cassidy out. Darby comes in with the skateboard, and this is when the match breaks down. Darby has a notable moment of offense, but this was the spot that I wanted to get to. He runs into the forearm of Claudio, which was tight enough. Maybe they could have done another move, maybe something on the mat, you know, maybe like a neutralizer on the mat, I don't know. But instead what we got was Claudio picking him up and just launching him into the ring post, which was fine, but it was the way he just dropped, and he did nothing to like protect himself, and his head just bounced,
Oh,
and it was the most cringy, awful thing. And that, like, it's kind of gone viral, that spot, and people are like, oh, this is so cool, like he ragdolled him about, but I'm just like, oh, like this, it really took me out of it because, again, like as someone who is on the fence about Darby and has been since watching AEW since day one and really struggles to get behind someone where I'm like, how can I get behind you if I just feel like you're going to get seriously injured, and then how are you going to fulfill this prophecy of you becoming world champion? Sorry, but that does, as a fan, it does take me out of it. To see this, it just, yeah, it just wasn't the moment that it was for other people, unfortunately.
yeah, it did look very dangerous, didn't it? I think all he really needed to do was to put his hands up, like you said, just to sort of break his fall, not whack his head on the floor.
It's full force on the head, and it's just
Yeah.
unnecessary. And that's the whole my whole criticism towards Darby Allin is unnecessariness of it, and that you can do stuff that's just as brutal looking and have it be just as effective, i.e. the crossbody off the tunnel. I don't want him to lose that part of his character,
Yeah, clearly
especially
it's
if
a
he's
bit
going to become
hard.
world champion. Like, don't dilute it down, but do at least take some measures. And I understand that's always going to be a part of your character. So when I saw that spot where he went off the ladder and he goes through the tables and the chairs,
The
uh,
glass.
the glass. That's probably another spot I'm thinking of, but yeah, that I'm like, do you know what? At least that was on pay-per-view and it's immortalized through pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
But I really struggle with seeing this type of offense on week-to-week television.
Yeah, yeah, because he does it all the time. It's not a one-off thing, and oh yeah, and I have to say I didn't sort of have the same reaction to that spot when I saw it. I probably have to go back and watch it, maybe in slow-mo or something. But I I agree with the premise of what you're saying. Like, he doesn't need to be taking such serious, horrible bumps all the time. I've said it quite a lot on the podcast.
And I feel like he's going to naturally as his storyline with Mox progresses, because I can definitely see them having like a cage match or something with really high stakes. Because fucking hell, Mox has bloodlust. He bloody loves it. Pun intended. But like, so why don't we just hold off? Why don't we just wait a little bit? Because you're gonna have that moment. You're gonna have that cheeky, hardcore, bloody moment. So why do we need now? And I know it's just repeating things. It's probably boring, like to you. Like, my opinion of Darby. You showed a similar opinion to Darby, but I don't know.
I know.
Just
I
need to
think it's a
get
fair
off my
point.
chest.
I'm glad you got it off your chest, especially if like people, like you said, it's gone viral, and you have to look at
Yeah.
it again and again, and you're just like, oh, constantly reminded of it.
And I don't get why people. This is veering off a bit, but people are so awfully shocked about the unprotected chair shot to the head to Jack Perry, which was a one-off and he probably won't do for a very, very long time. Where's the outrage towards this?
Mm,
Those same people, I feel like, people are so quick to clutch their pearls about unprotected chair shots to the head. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just, and again, I'm not criticizing high risk maneuver spots. I just want to emphasize that, like, I'm really not, like, I'm all for it, time and place. I actually defended that chair shot to the head. But why the people who are so, as soon as they see that, they're online, they're on the subreddit, they're on Twitter. Why is it different with Darby when he does it
match the
so much more
energy.
frequently?
Yeah,
Match the energy, hun.
yeah. Make it make sense. Double standards.
Not a CTE guy.
Because
He's
he's
not a CTE
invincible.
guy, is Darby Allin.
He's not. He simply doesn't believe in it, so that means he will never get it.
Yeah, and another thing I really enjoyed was the subtlety of Wheeler Yuta. He's recently been dressing in the clothes of Bryan
Oh,
Danielson, and I
yeah.
love how, despite the fact this is the man who took Danielson out, he was the one who delivered the killing blow, the double tap, as it were, to the head to take this man out. But yet, the subtlety of which they are making Yuta sympathetic is fucking brilliant. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, completely agree. And even to the detail of like his hair is getting long, his beard is getting long, he's looking like disheveled and stuff. Like you say, he's like wearing different clothes now. Yeah, I love it. And it doesn't have to be like in your face, like, oh, he's really pissed off about the way that he's being treated. It's more like, where is his head? Like, we don't understand where his loyalties lie. Um, and that's so intriguing.
But it also feels like at any moment he could snap out of it, and
Yeah,
at any moment in which Mox is pushing him and sort of provoking him, and he's taking it, it does feel it. I can definitely, even though he's done all these dastardly things, I know that when he does come to standing up to Mox, the crowd will be behind him because of the subtlety and the long-term booking
yeah,
and the character work that you has done. Yeah, so he obviously delivered the psycho knee, so that was another little touch. But it's so interesting because it's dastardly that he would do that. That he would use his mentor's finisher, but at the same time, there's an element of tragedy, an element of like sympathy interweaved with it. It's just brilliant.
yeah. I agree. I completely agree. And as well, this is just because we were talking about like what he was wearing and things. Claudio with a new jacket as well, and also Orange Cassidy wearing black instead of
Yeah.
the light coloured the jeans and the white t-shirt. So all these little details. Oh, love him.
Yeah, he's like been getting progressively darker, but now he's just in full black. It is it's great. It's just the little things that presentation is so important. And later on, when we had like the Penelope Ford and Jamie Hayter match, I just love to see some more subtle or better presentation of the women. And I don't mean just giving them time in the ring. I don't just mean like pushing people. I mean like seriously like looking at people's characters, how they dress, how they walk, their music, the colours, the lighting. You can do it for the men, so why can't
Yeah,
you do it for the women? Because it really does like go a long way.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100% right. Also, Marina Shafir just being a complete badass in this. Someone needs to stop her. Like, I feel like no one's
Yeah,
even put their hands on her yet. So, like, why? I'm sorry, we've been talking about this for a
yeah.
while, but just another thing. Why? There's apparently no women in the women's roster want to stand up to the Death Riders. Apparently, it's all men. I don't buy that. I feel like Willow she'd be infuriated by this. Why isn't she like going out to fight Marina? And I'm not saying that because the women have to fight the women and the men have to fight the men. I'm just saying, that would make sense for her character to do that. I don't know. Missed
Yeah, well,
opportunity.
it's been really cool to see Marina do the intergender stuff
Mm.
and have her like lay her hands on the men. I'm really really down for that. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now you've just totally read my mind and said what I think. Like, why not Willow? It is hard, I guess, when both of your women's champions are heels. It would. But if the whole motivation of the Death Riders is we're sick of lazy people, we're sick of they're not attacking the world champ. I mean, they did for Danielson because he was the figurehead of laziness and just let's have fun, and that's not what they're about.
Mhm.
But the whole thing is people who are lazy. They aren't putting themselves forward. They're just going with the flow. And the women's division is full of people like that. Sometimes at no fault of their own, but Anna Jay, Penelope Ford, not even just Willow, but like all these other people who were like on the outliers of the women's division. Maybe it's not so much the good guys slash good girls going for Marina. Maybe it's a case of Marina hunting them down,
Yeah.
and it's ridiculous because we always have criticisms of women's division, not as much as we once did, but and you've got something that you could interject there.
Yeah.
Why are we holding off?
Yeah, it's
I
just an
don't get
extra
that.
little dynamic to this whole thing, and like God knows the women's division needs some more exciting stories. So yeah, it just seems like a bit of a missed opportunity.
But then Marina Shafir's never been great in the ring, so you have to like wonder if they're just holding off because of that. And but then it's like, why can't she have like a few squash matches on Collision? Why ain't she on Rampage? Why ain't she just doing something on some
Yes.
show just to test the waters with live audience? It's like I don't. It's really difficult to sometimes with the women's division, like turning Chris Statlander face just because it's so difficult to. A lot of things I can reason why, like the Adam Cole stuff, it's shit, but I can understand why they're doing it. I don't agree with it, but I can understand their headspace. I cannot understand the headspace of this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, like what's the rationale? I would love to know.
Yeah. Next up, we had a Ricochet interview with Renee, teasing his mystery partner, and they made the Hurt Syndicate coming down, and they wished him good luck. And I thought this whole segment it was very unreadable to like their alliances. It was like teasing, like, oh, like Willie joined the Hurt Syndicate. Like, did they have an alliance? Like, and Ricochet, I think, did pretty well, like playing it off at the end, like his facial expressions. I couldn't really read it. Um, so yeah, I enjoyed that.
I think the interesting thing about the Hurt Syndicate as well is what MVP said in his promo was like, "Oh, if you should consider yourself very lucky if you get handed one of our business cards, but if you turn us down, well, you saw what happened to Swerve." So it's kind of like everything they do seems to have a consequence. Like they've implied, like you're either with us or if you turn us down, then we're going to beat you up. So I was kind of, this was like, I don't want to say throwaway, but it was like a short backstage segment, but I was interested in the consequences of it. So
And I really love crossovers of I love when the show flows and people aren't just kept in like separate containers. And yeah, it's throwaway, but like in the future, even if it's like in a year's time and they have a match, it's like they've got a little bit of history. I really like continuous
yeah,
flow on Dynamite. I really appreciate it.
yeah, when it sort of bleeds into one another, it's very nice.
Yeah. Next up, we had the fight without Honor Trios match with the Learning Tree stable and then the conglomeration. Um, Positives, Briscoe and Jericho were at the forefront of this match. They were, like the other people had the little things, but
Mm.
they were sort of the main focus and the main spots were focused around them. Um, Big Bill and Kyle O'Reilly had a little backstage spa. We had table breaks, jumping off the ladders, Froggy Bone off the top of the ladder through the table. Ishii
Lots and
picked up
lots
the
of
victory
tables.
though. Yeah, lots and lots of tables. Maybe if we break another table, it might be interesting. I don't know. Ishii picked up the victory, which just felt why, and I just wrote down a mess, just an absolute mess, just boring, 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 boring.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, one of the only things I took away from this was some of those table breaks were really satisfying and could probably go on our ASMR compilation of satisfying table breaks. But yeah, I just, what is there else to say about this feud? It's just, it's supposedly very intense, isn't it, between Chris Jericho and Matt Briscoe? Like, oh, Chris Jericho's been so disrespectful. Oh, he's won the championship from him. Oh my God, this is a fight without honor. But like, it's a tag team match, so it's kind of diluted in that sense. And I get the whole reason for getting these other people involved because they're two factions and whatever. But I don't know. It just makes it the whole feud feel less personal. I thought. Um, and yeah, I didn't understand really because you had this really good match before it, and then you just went into this, which was basically just a
Yeah.
spot fest of, oh, how many tables can we break? Can we do some extreme spots? And
And if
also
that's how
like,
you get in a crowd invested, those are the lengths you have to go. Like these shouldn't be used as like vehicle. It's just desperate, and it's just.
yeah,
You were
right,
saying last week about how do we escalate this, and because obviously we've already gone to the dead brother thing. We've already disrespected Jay Briscoe's memory. So how do we do it all? We'll just keep doing street fights and it's just diluting the whole thing down
yeah,
even more.
yeah, yeah, exactly that. And like the finish, Briscoe took Chris Jericho down and like nearly won. But then I think it was Brian Keith broke up the cover. And then not long after that, Ishii got the cover, and you're just like,
Yeah, it was so bizarre.
what? Is this so that Ishii can get a shot at the title, do you think? Because now he's covered Jericho, and it's like, oh, what a match this is. And just like,
Probably.
I do ask for this. Who asked for this? I don't know. I don't think anyone did. I think I'm just ready for it to be over.
I
And they've been
think
ready for that for a few weeks.
if you truly want to reinvent Jericho, I think to build stuff up, sometimes you've got to break it down. So
Yeah.
ideally, what I would do is I would have Brian Keefe and Big Bill. I think they've had enough exposure. I think they're quite over it, particularly Big Bill. I think instead of going out and doing all this other shit with other people and having the vortex and the learning tree stable, I think we need to focus on like inner tensions within the group. I think we separate Brian Keefe and Big Bill and they have a big babyface run as a tag team. Tag team division definitely needs that. And I think Chris Jericho, you break him down, and instead of this fourth wall breaking, if you really want to make him sympathetic and you really want to build him back up, the irony has to go and he just has to be like, yeah, I am washed up. How am I going to come back from this? And you kind of do it from zero and build him back up slowly and slowly, make him sympathetic. Maybe through a tournament, Continental Classic is coming around quite fast. I don't know if you have time, because you wouldn't want to rush this. You can't do it overnight. I wouldn't want it to be like a stat thing, like suddenly he's like sympathetic and washed out and washed up. But I think if he came with that authenticity, actual authenticity, and was like, why does the crowd not like me? And he's just crushed. He's just crushed and desperate. And perhaps he has, I don't know, like you need maybe, it's hard because he is a veteran, but someone like the way Jeff Jarrett was with Danielson, he needs someone like that. And it's difficult because he's also a veteran. Maybe he needs someone younger to be like, I believe in you. And then maybe that younger protege could then turn on him, and then they turn heel. And then somehow, I don't know why I'm fantasy booking a Chris Jericho run, but like, I feel like that would be quite good. I feel like it's
turntables. Right, you know what? I get
you
it.
See my vision?
I see the vision, because it's like he needs to start from nothing. Like you said, you need to break something down sometimes to build it back up. But I just think his ego is too big to do that. Unless, he can listen to this podcast and hear it from your perspective, which is very convincing. I don't know how you would pitch that to him, because I just feel like his ego is huge and he's like, I'm breaking the fourth wall, all the marks hate me, brother, but they secretly love me. But I like that idea. I'm here for it.
Death Riders, they are backstage, and Mock says Wheeler owes Cassidy nothing. Obviously, they have a huge history together when Wheeler was kind of fourth wheeling with the best friends, and he doesn't belong. But I love this. Wheeler doesn't belong to anyone. He doesn't belong to you, and he didn't belong to Danielson. He's a soldier under my hand, so he does belong to someone. The subtlety of that.
So manipulative.
And then the way he just grabbed him and just shoved him out of the shot as well. Like, he is his bitch, man.
Yeah, so true. I've seen a mix of people saying that like it's his son, and also that it's a bit gay as well. It can't be both of those things. It's one or the other guy.
That's more the Claudio vibe.
You think? Wait, which one? Dad or gay?
I think Dad.
Yeah, same.
I think maybe like if I was going to write fan fiction, I'd maybe do like Orange Cassidy x Wheeler in this dynamic. That's where I'd be going.
Yeah, that'd be very angsty. I know, but also like I forgot to mention in their match, in the tag team match, Orange punched Yuta, and I was like, ouch, that's like some deep history there. But
It is.
This segment was very interesting, and Mox was like, only a cause buys loyalty. So you can see that's the whole rationale behind it, is that people believe, and that everyone in the Death Riders believes what they're doing is right, and that's what buys loyalty. It's not like the people, it's the cause.
Yeah, it's the cause, and of course, like Wheeler must have at least some small voice that's making him question why Mox is doing this. But it really is. It's ground down on the subtleties of what it's like to be in a cult. It really hit with me, like, not even cult, but when you see a group of bullies and like the dynamic of like the head bully, and there's always like the third or the second. There's always like a second, and then like the third and the fourth, and then them being picked on, but also like they'll protect him when it comes to like them picking on the weaker.
Yeah.
Like that sort of hierarchical nature.
And that they feel
It's
like
interesting.
they can't leave because then they'd be the vulnerable ones, like getting all the wrath, getting bullied, sort of thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
totally love that metaphor.
Yeah, so should we move on to the absolute shit show? That is
Yeah,
the Adam Cole fiasco.
yeah,
All right, so this was against Adam Cole against Malachi Black. On paper, this sounds dope. This is like black and gold NXT. They've
yeah.
got so much history. They've been in so many
Throwback.
promotions together. Throwback, baby. And this is part of his. He needs to win 3 matches to take on MJF alongside Roddy, which was then clarified as to what would happen if that happens at the end of the match. This match was awful. This match was awful. It was the fallout was awful. The wrestling was garbage. It was hot garbage. It went on too long. It was boring. How it could be boring, I don't know, because on paper these two should be able to go. It was trash. It was contrived. And I don't even like Malachi Black. I'm not a Malachi Black fan. I'm not a big stan of him.
I know.
I liked him before. We know. I liked him before, before AEW, but he's just an absolutely fuck all. However, this is a big deal for him. It's a singles match. You don't really see that. And two, his presentation during this match did not feel like Malachi Black. It felt like Aleister Black, Tommy End. It just didn't feel true to character, like almost like I can't explain it, like he just like given up on it, or like AEW's like totally given up on it, and it felt like, I was talking about Jericho and breaking something down to build it back up. I don't know if that's what they're doing here, and if they are, fair enough. I don't know if that's necessarily how I would go about it, because I don't think that's what people want to see from Malachi Black, washed up and trying to I don't think that's where his fans come from. But it was just fucking weird and sad to see.
Yeah, especially that ending. It was so awkward and weird, wasn't it? I feel like the commentary didn't really get it. So like Adam Cole was lining up for his finisher. I can't remember what it's called. Sorry, it's like a running knee.
Da boom.
Yeah, that's it. And Malachi just sort of turned around and saw him coming, and just sat down and was just like. And Adam Cole was like, as if this was some sort of big moment, and it was sort of like, what? It doesn't make sense. Don't really get it. Commentary couldn't really put it over because they didn't understand what was going on. And that was sort of summarised the whole match in a nutshell. It was just like, they're trying to do something here, but it just didn't hit. It just didn't hit home. It didn't land for some reason.
Yeah, and the significance of Cole's near fall to the end, and they
Yeah.
tried to put it over a little bit, but that's like such a big deal, and it just became a throwaway. A lot of these things that should be huge, there's so many elements of this that should be huge, i.e. Malachi making a singles appearance, the near fall to the end. It was so bizarre. And yeah, the boom and then him picking up the victory never felt authentic. We had
Yeah,
Kyle
exactly.
O'Reilly
Not very forced.
watching on, which just like, did we need to see that? No. I just thought that Malachi he looked fucked when they had that zoomed in, like his hair, his face at the end of the match. He looked weak. He looked fucked. He looked washed out. And there's been no build up for him to be washed out. It's not like Malachi Black and the bloody House of Black have been on like a losing streak. And I know that for me and other people like me, we don't really have a lot of faith in the stable, and we have criticised the booking, but I know that I'm also not the majority. I know that the majority are very, very hot for House of Black. So I just think if I was really hot for House of Black and I saw this, it would be even weirder for me.
Yeah, I would like to see. I haven't seen people like fans like their response to it. I'd be interested to know, like, because I feel like House of Black fans are very good at reading into things and taking special meaning out of things. So I'd be interested to see what they took out of this. I've seen. I don't know if you've seen like people speculating that it was like, oh, Malachi, he's leaving. He's leaving. That's why he
Yeah.
let him kick out, and that's why he let him hit his finisher, because he's leaving AEW for WWE, and he's put a video on Instagram being like, not injured, not leaving. Everything's fine. And it's just, and that's not the first time that's happened with him, is it? Where like he's had a
Yeah, because his
match.
contract's very up in the air, and
Mm.
the terms of that aren't like super open to people, so people do like to greatly speculate on it. I'm thinking maybe the only a way you could do this is Adam Copeland. I don't know when he's coming back. We had a lot of history with them, and it seemed like he was trying to overtake House of Black and sort of do like a brood thing. So I don't know whether like you pull in Malachi Black for Copeland to make his entrance and sort of come in and rejuvenate and rebuild the stable, and there's sort of like some infighting there that might be interesting to see. Um, but it just felt very contrived, and it felt like on paper, like people have got like whoever's written this has got in their idea. Right, we're gonna do a best of three, and we're gonna like I'm doing with tearing it down to build it up. But you're not me. So like you're not tearing it down right,
He's
and you're
not doing it.
using
Yeah.
people. You're not doing it right. You're using people as obstacles who shouldn't be obstacles, and don't even fucking get me started on Takeshita next week.
Oh my God.
Don't even get
Yeah.
me. If I see bloody Takeshita sitting there, like, go on then, and he shakes his hand at the end, I will personally fly out to America, hunt you down, and kill you. Like,
Who?
do
Who?
not
Who are
do
you
that. Like,
killing?
whoever's written this, whoever's put pen to paper, I will find you and I will kill you with the pen that you wrote it with. But it's just, it's sorry, it's sorry,
That's
it's just,
brutal. Brutal way to go.
I've been off for 2 weeks.
But
I'm
yeah, like
sorry, this
all these
podcast
emotions are
roast.
coming to the forefront now. Bloody hell. It's all coming out. I knew you'd react this way though. As soon as I saw it, I was like, no, this is like the perfect recipe for Estelle disaster. It's like not only have we got Malachi Black, we've also then got Takeshita versus Adam Cole, where you just know that Adam Cole's probably gonna win. What? Oh my God. And also, well, I mean, we'll get to it when we get to it, but Takeshita taking the pin later on.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, it's this contrived. It's so contrived. It's inauthentic, and it just feels like you've written down on paper. This is the main character is Adam Cole, and we're going to twist other people's characters because Adam Cole's character needs to be the strongest, and it doesn't matter the fallout. And like I said, I hope it's leading to other things. I hope like
Mm.
I've just randomly booked Summer with Malachi Black and Adam Copeland. I hope it leads. It don't have to be specifically that, but I hope he's got something. I
Yeah.
really sincerely do, because if not. This is absolutely it's a bloody joke. It's an absolute joke. Cole cut a promo, didn't he? And as Malachi was walking up the ramp, he was like, "That's the greatest man I've ever faced." It was just like it felt very patronising and like condescending.
Yeah. I don't know why both of his matches so far last week as well, just very sentimental, and he's very much like, oh, you brought out the best of me. Thank you. This is the greatest match of my career. I'm crying in the ring right now. And I'm just like, why?
It's so overly emotional for
Yeah.
what it is.
And I get it, like, he's just come back from a really serious injury. And maybe, a bit of grace, like, he's not as good in the ring because he's only just coming back from that injury. But, like, I don't get the other emotion. The emotion is, I don't, I'm an emotional person. I get emotionally invested in wrestling, and this isn't
Yeah.
doing it for me. There's some disconnected here with what they're trying to do and what is being executed.
Yeah, like on paper, it's a good idea. Like, on paper, Malachi Black versus Adam Cole, a good idea, and having an emotional respect moment. But when every match can't be like the Brody King, Darby Allin thing when he earned his respect. And you know what? By the end of it, he did win us round. But not every match can be and should be that. Sometimes two, I know Malachi ain't even really a face, but sometimes two faces can just face and have it be that and draw a line under it. Especially, and it's difficult as well because it's not like Adam Cole is this massive sympathetic baby face because he's a tweener, and in actuality, he's the one who did MJF dirty, and
Yep.
it's just muddying it even more.
Yes, that's exactly what I was just about to say. It's very murky and very, yeah. So like, and then you try and make it emotional and deep, and it doesn't work because of him and his moral a lack thereof, moral fibre and his background and stuff, which we have brought up and mentioned, and he's in the feud with MJF, so you can't not think about it.
Yeah, so bringing up MGF, Cole actually cut that promo, and he says that if Roddy still needs to win 2 more matches, but if they both get to 3, it'll be a freeway. Now, who in the absolute hell wants to see? I mean, we already, no one's really that excited for Adam Cole versus MJF because of how, like, it's just like, oh, we need to get this out of the way. Let's try to enjoy it for what it is. And we have both tried to enjoy it for what it is. However, even that's hard to do. And then you throw in Roderick Strong into the mix, who really doesn't even... Like, his beef with MJF has been so minimal as of late. Like, yeah, back in the day, they had a lot of heat. But it was more Max having heat with Roddy. Like, yeah. Max feeling attacked by Roddy.
Yeah.
I know that Roddy felt like insecure and he was kind of, like, trying to passive-aggressively use Adam Cole. But I don't know. The only way I guess this would work is... For me, I personally would like to see Takeshita beat the shit out of Adam Cole next week and have a decisive victory. And again, breaking it down to build it back up. Roderick Strong goes against Max. It's valiant. Roderick gets absolutely brutalized by Max. And this then furthers the fire for Adam Cole to want to beat Max. Then you take it to the next gear and you make their match have some kind of stipulation and some kind of death match, some kind of no what's it called?
Holds barred.
No holds barred. No holds barred.
No bars hold.
No bars hold. That's the only way I can see this, for me personally, being enjoyable. But again, you've still got to go through Roderick versus MJF at Full Gear.
Yeah. I think you're right though, like Takeshita really needs to beat Adam Cole to a bloody pulp next week. And I say that
Brock Lesnar, John Cena style.
Yeah. Right. Because the whole thing, especially last week, was, oh my god, his ankle is still injured and he's super resilient. This week was the same. Oh, he kicked out at the end. Oh my god, how resilient. But there's only so far I think that can take him. And this should be like his absolute limit. Because, at the end of the day, MJF, I can't remember if this segment's been... No, it hasn't. But, I mean, we're talking about it anyway. Like, the way they do it is MJF has paid Don Callis to take out Adam Cole, so that's why Takeshita's facing him. So that it's like, well, then he really should brutalise him. And to get that money, to get, like, more money from him and whatever, like, that's the whole point of the match taking place. So, yeah, as much as I like you, Adam Cole, I want to see you in a heap on the floor, really.
Crying. Yeah, as you said, Max and his villain there called someone up, and then that was later revealed to be Don Callis. Private Party are going to have a 4-way contender series on Collision and Dynamite for their contender at Full Gear. I think this is fantastic. I'm very happy with this. I'm really happy that you're trying to get a legitimate contender for the tag titles, and you're doing stuff that's significant on Collision. So kudos to you for that.
Yeah, for sure. And how many different stories can you flesh out from this if you want, like doing it this way with the different teams and stuff? Outrunners for the win.
Yeah, that could be a lot of fun. Then we've got Jay White with Renee. He just briefly addresses Adam Page's comments, but Hangman just lashes out on him. They brawl down to the front. He tries to break his ankle, which was hilarious because it was just one of the spots where it was so obvious that all he had to do was just like move his foot.
Yeah, or like
no, I can't.
Or someone in the front row could have helped. Like someone sat there at the barricade could have just like given him a little bump.
Imagine if they had. How awkward that would have been. But he was stopped by Juice, and this allowed Jay White to get the upper hand, and then he cut a promo in the ring, and he alluded to making Hangman tap, so maybe we're going to see that. But God, I've still got trauma from Full Gear last year with Jay White, so I swear to God, if you do me dirty again, I know he won last time against Hangman Page, but I'm in a very precarious state right now. So
Yeah, you're like being cautious with your feelings around this.
yeah, when I've got Takeshi next week as well.
Yeah.
They got pinned tonight. I'm giving a big side eye. So, but yeah, I'm loving these two. I'm loving their feud. I think it's just awesome, and they just work really, really well together. And I hope they continue after Full Gear. I don't see why they should stop. I think this feud has a lot of leverage leverage it can go to. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything to add. I agree with you.
Next up, we had Hook and the Christian segment. But before that, we had Statlander arriving to the arena with Renee briefly talking to her about a match at Full Gear. Camille then bumped Statlander with the car. Monet talks down to her. Statlander then this was great. Statlander, instead of like how you'd think this segment would go, like the heels just having a beatdown, Statlander just like badass. She slammed Camille's arm into the door and then did like a power slam on Monet onto the hood of the car, and they were just left laid out. And it was just
Yeah.
brilliant.
She made them look like shit. Like, she fucked them over. It's very weird, this though, wasn't it? Like, because the camera wasn't on it, and all you heard was like a bang. And then
Yeah.
Mercedes was like, "You missed her. You fucking missed her." So as if like she tried to fucking murder her and hit her with a car, and then somehow missed. And Mercedes is like, "Oh, you can't do anything right." So I mean, and that again, something that was sort of happened last week as well. So these two looking like they're probably going to break up.
Do you think?
Well, I don't know. Like Mercedes was literally like, "You can't do anything right." Like there's tension. There's tension.
I think it's meant to be like an MJF Wardlow thing, where they're just going to keep the tension going on for ages. I don't know. I don't know. I'd like to think before they break it up though that naturally you tend to get you'd want to get Camille over surely as like connect her emotionally with the audience so that when she does go against Monet the crowd's behind her. But I just feel like if they did it now it'd be too soon because like I say she's not really connected and she's just there.
Yeah, I completely agree. It is too soon now, but I wouldn't put it past whoever's right in the women's division to just rush it. Oh, we need a feud. Oh, this is half baked. Oh well, it'll do. But I don't know when it'll happen. I can see it happening at some point. Maybe not 2024.
Yeah. So then we had like I said, the Hook Christian bit. We got the Patriarch coming out. Christian talked about Kip Sabian wanting his attention. Showed the moment where Kip took his pen and he walked into Claudio and Pac and how he was grateful because they were about to interfere. This is a very roundabout way, and it wasn't clear back then. That was not the thought process that I really had, but
I don't think it's the thought process that they had.
Yeah, they were just
like, oh well, that makes sense, I guess. Like shove it in, get that video in. Then.
Yeah. He said that Kip did more for him than any of his other sons. So this is actually interesting. Nick Wayne not being the golden boy anymore. Like we've said, we'd love to see Nick Wayne do something a little bit more. So this is cool because obviously this whole time, when Luchasaurus, aka Kill Switch. Jeez, the words are hard today. Kill Switch was there. He was sort of talked down upon, and because of the fact that Christian's in kayfabe with Shayna, Nick Wayne is the golden boy, and he's been primed as such. But now not only is the Kip Sabian, he's also got his bloody eye on Hook. So that's fun. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's like he's moving on, and it's happened before, and it's just sort of like a new toy to play with. It's just I don't want to play with you anymore. Yeah. And like Kip Sabian's sort of naive, like he doesn't realise that, in the future that's probably going to happen to him as well.
Okay, it's funny though, because like Hook and Nick Wayne are younger.
Yeah.
But in like Kip Sabian about like 30.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I think the sort of criteria is a bit of a twink and not a dilf, because then you got enough
And
contrast
dead
with
dad.
Christian for it to work. Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that line. A fatherless loser just looking for some guidance. I was like, ouch, that hit too close to home.
Oop. Hook comes out and he interrupts this and he's like, I want to talk right now. Um, and Christian says, like, I know that you might feel a bit salty about being beaten down, but that was discipline. And he wants him as his son, and he had to take Taz out with the lead pipe because he had his influence. And I love the line, I wish your father was dead rather than your father's dead. I wish he was dead so that I could have influence. And
Harsh.
yeah, he kind of ran to the ring and they cleared the ring, and then he was sort of surrounded by security. And I loved the look that Christian gave, because while Hook is like, I'm going to beat you, I'm going to beat you, Christian's not threatened. Christian's not angry. He's enamored. He loves it. He's like, oh, that passion, that drive, more energy, more passion. I want it.
Sort of like he's
It's
done
very
that on
gay.
purpose. It is, yeah, it is. But it's like it sort of reminds me
Said
of
it in
like
a positive way, of course.
what Mox did. Yeah, obviously. What Mox did last week to Orange Cassidy. It's sort of like he's baiting someone on purpose to get the reaction that he wants, and he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I love this reaction. Look at all this power I've got over you. I can make you react this way."
Very kinky.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I mean, wrestling is at its core, isn't it?
They had Mavez and Callis, and as you said, they were talking about he got an envelope with money. He got a box with the diamond, the diamond ring. So that's cool, and the voice note, which is just so cringe because I was just picturing like MJF as in like actual Max out of kayfabe in his probably hotel sending a voice memo, having to send it several times, and Carrie's
Yeah.
like, I don't know why that was really giving me the ick.
And he's like, "Oh shit, let me try that again. Let me try that one more time. One more
Yeah.
take."
But yeah, they're gonna go after Cole. So I don't know whether that's just simply Takeshita's going to be in the match, or like Callis is going to be on the side. Maybe we're going to have a screwdriver influence if he begins to overpower Takeshita. But I hope not. I hope it is just Takeshita giving him a million Germans.
Yeah. Keep it simple.
But I like how he got the ring, because I think like Max will come back for that ring. And that might not be like tomorrow. It might be like, in a couple of months' time. But I liked that.
Yeah. Is this the same ring that he claimed got stolen in England, by the way?
Well, it did get stolen, and then they had to buy another
So
one.
they just, yeah, bought a whole new one. So extra valuable now because it's brand new. So he'll certainly be
Very
back.
sparkly. Then we got Penelope Ford versus Jamie Hayter. God, both the entrances made me feel like I'm playing 2K Create a Wrestler. Could you get any more 2K?
Very
With
generic.
the music and the very, very generic. And I'm not, I don't know if I've spoken this at length on the podcast, but I'm not a fan of Hayter's rebranded look. I think
Right.
she loves it. Great for you. But if you're gonna go into this whole like 70s vibe, like shouldn't we like change the music, change the full presentation of the character? Like it's weird. It's like when Sky Blue came out in like Scooby Doo uniform, attire even uniform. It's just weird.
Oh,
It's just
yeah.
weird.
That's one of the things that I meant to pick up on last week, but it just was not in my brain at all. Yeah, that's a valid point. It is so different to before. Like, if you didn't know it was her, you could put them two side by side and be like, it's a different person. It's very,
And
very.
there was so much hype for her before. There's no need for this. And obviously, I want her to be happy. And if this is making her feel more happier and confident in herself and her looks, good for her. But in terms of just like being a selfish fan, like wrestling, it just wasn't the move. And if it was going to be the move, like let's adjust other things to make it make sense.
Yeah, yeah. Let's. It needs
Why
to
are
be.
we coming out to like a rave theme?
It's not aligned, is it?
No. But I really liked this big, like I said, I really liked Penelope Ford. I know people were like that hype for this match, but and then afterwards, people like posting like little gifs of her, like when she leant back into sort of the crab and then came back up,
Oh,
and I'm
I
like,
love
yeah,
that.
she's fucking awesome, and you're seeing it now, you're seeing it, and I think in terms of character, in terms of presentation, like yeah, there's a bit of work, and there's always been a bit of work that needs to go to be there. It's not enough to just be I'm super bad, I'm a bad girl, I wear a leather jacket and some glasses, but just with a bit of character work, she's awesome. She's
Yeah,
badass, miles better
yeah,
than Anna J.
yeah. She's got like the I want to say like the ingredients to be really good. It just
Yeah,
needs some time in the oven, like cook a bit, and yeah, be something like more full, like the full picture. Yeah, bit of character work and a bit of just like finesse, but in ring, like great. I wish that these two had a bit longer on this episode just more showcase what they can do. It just felt very short.
it was, and it's like the only women's match.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jamie Hayter picked it, the win with the Haterade. But I suppose because they are both quite fresh, you don't want to give them too much time and expose them
Mm.
on the main show. Like, what if it didn't land and then it's just like awkward? I think this was more just like testing the waters of like how are the crowd going to react to Penelope? How are people connecting with Jamie Hayter? Let's
Hmm.
see how it is going forward. I think it's quite cute how like both Penelope and Kip are getting a little push as well. Good for them because they've
Yeah.
been there ages as well, like absolutely ages,
Hmm. Yeah,
and
yeah.
never really had like a proper push, especially um Penelope. I just don't feel like she's ever really like had the chance to like connect with people properly. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, that's
you know, if she falls flat on the face and she don't connect, then you know, like it's sad, but it is what it is. But at least give her the chance, you know.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think this was a good start.
Yeah. And then we had a thing saying that Mina's coming next week, finally, after all the teasing. So thank God Mariah May's gonna have something to do.
Yeah. About time.
About fucking time. And we talked of the Continental Classic season, which is really exciting. I'm looking forward to that tournament.
Yeah, I can't believe it's that time again.
Yeah, it's come around really fast. And then we went on to our main event. We had Takeshita with Cal Fletcher versus Ricochet and his mystery man, Will Hobbs, which, like, I don't know why, but Will Hobbs has been on my mind constantly. Like, I always bring him up, like, what if it's Will Hobbs? Will Hobbs. But then when it came to this, I just didn't think of Will. And then, like, he came out and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it. It definitely caught me off guard, and somehow, because I was watching it today, I hadn't seen any spoilers about it or anything, so I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, this was a highly physical match, as you can imagine. It was just really great, easy watching, which like most of the main events are. And I really enjoyed Takeshita and Hobbs facing off. You know, they have history in the Callis family, but also them have been of similar stature. It's really interesting to watch because not many guys on the roster are as big as they are. So to get to see that was pretty cool.
Also, I liked how Ricochet, like, just to go back a little bit, when he introduced Hobbs and he sort of prefaced it with, this person feels forgotten by the Don Callis family,
Yeah.
and so it's like he's got reason to be in this match, and that was quite nice for, even if you weren't familiar with him or whatever, getting, there's just a little bit of story, getting invested, and he's got reason to really go full on in this match, like be aggressive.
And I know a lot of people have said, and I also agree, I would love to see Will Hobbs in the Hurt Syndicate. I
Yeah,
think it'll give him something to do. I think he's someone who works better in a faction. Being around Lashley, Shelton, MVP, like what he's going to pick up on and grow doing that. And he is what that group is all about. Black excellence.
yeah.
Come on. Will Hobbs, like his build, his wrestling, his stature,
I mean, he's even
and
bigger than Lashley and Shelton.
yeah.
You don't really there's no like very limited people on that roster who are actually bigger than them, and he is in terms of like, build and stuff. So for sure, he would fit right in, I think.
And with that group as well, like as much as I'm not all those people that's like, oh, this is just ex-WWE guys, wow, 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 like grow up. But it would be nice to see like a newer talent being in there, getting the rub
Yeah,
off them,
yeah,
rather than just
yeah,
keeping
and
it like separate.
yeah, and like just a little bit of something different for them because yeah, something new, something fresh, like a young person that adds a new dynamic of them maybe sort of like mentoring him and like you said, teaching him and like in kayfabe and also not in kayfabe, like the things he could learn. It's exciting to think about.
Yeah, and say if they can't like beat Swerve and that kind of falls apart. I mean, I don't know, maybe Swerve will join. I don't think so, the Hurt Syndicate, but it'd be great if they like you say sort of in terms of on screen, like groom him and make him like their prize, like fighting dog as it were.
Yeah,
Um, it'd be really cool to see. Yeah, we had Cole watching from the back, which is like, what? Why? And then I know later on he came. What? Why? Why is Adam Cole watching this? Why do we need more Adam Cole? I'm Adam Cole'd out.
yeah. It added nothing, did it? Other than I guess for it to make sense when he ran out later, but
We did, but
didn't
why does
need
he need
that.
to run out? He has no ties to them, to Ricochet. And what's his alliance there other than I'm good guy? But he's not good guy. Like it's like again, like they're trying to force this thing of like Adam Cole is the main character of AEW and he's the ultimate good guy and the ultimate. It's like giving Cody Rhodes, and it's like, but that's just not the reality of what's going on, is it? And I mean,
Yeah,
Cody Rhodes is in like when he was in AEW.
yeah, yeah. No, I guess like because he's facing Takeshita next week, but it's tenuous that it's like, oh, I'm facing you next
True.
week, so now I'm gonna come out and beat you up all of a sudden, even though I've not really cared like for the past few weeks. Yeah, it's lame. I agree.
Um, and Ricochet ended up pinning Takeshita. I know people are going to be like, "What was your reaction to that?" Honestly, I'm not too mad about it because I
I'm
think if
surprised.
it leads to Ricochet and Takeshita have history with the freeway with Osprey, and Ricochet does have a vendetta, and he's like, you didn't pin me, you did take him out like with a table. So I think in that instance, like there's vengeance, and they might want to do something together later on in the future. I absolutely wouldn't be mad with them running a program. So I wasn't like, it does suck, but someone has to get pinned.
Should the
Everyone who
champ?
got pinned, you cannot pin. You can't pin Hobbs. Ricochet, again, you don't want to pin, he's new. Fletcher, they were really trying to push Fletcher. Takeshita, they're really trying to push Takeshita. So it was like
Yeah,
whatever. But at least if you pin in Takeshita, there is history there between them. And it
and it
will
could.
fire up Takeshita.
Yeah, and it can go somewhere. Yeah.
But if
Um,
he loses next week, then I will be singing a different tune.
all guns blazing.
Yeah,
Um,
that flight to America booked.
get it booked. Well, we'll see, but I don't know. I'm trying not to be too like pessimistic about that, but yeah. No, this was a good match. I enjoyed it. I thought Ricochet and Hobbs were like such a mismatched team that like you didn't know you needed until it happened.
Yeah,
I loved when Ricochet did a moonsault off his shoulders all the way to the outside. Like, wow, that was really dangerous, and like that could have gone so wrong because they were both facing like they couldn't see whether they were there to catch them or not. I don't know how they did that. How they pulled
yeah.
it off. It was very, very impressive. Um, I thought Kyle Fletcher in particular looked really strong in this. Um, and strong in the literal sense is like, like physically really strong and just like he was pulling off some moves with what looked like absolute ease as well. And Takeshita always does that. But yeah, like these two, they were just a brilliant team as well. Um, and the way that Ricochet was going through like his high flying moves and they could just catch him in midair. Um, really awesome, really entertaining.
And it's really fun to see Ricochet just getting stuck in.
Yeah,
Like I kind of enjoyed his booking since arriving. at AEW, they've done a good job of like integrating him into the roster quite fast, and like you said, the
Yeah.
unlikely a duo of him and Hobbs. But that's why he came here to wrestle, to have new competition and be around new people. So it's very nice to see that.
Yeah, for sure. Like just him doing something different as well. It's not just like the one-on-one matches where it's a bit of a spot fest and things. He's getting a taste of doing different styles of matches, which shows that he's not a one-trick pony and he's a well-rounded wrestler.
And it's the benefit of him coming from WWE to AEW and him being happy in and of himself, but then also other people going over from WWE to AEW and them being so much happier. I.e. Cody Rhodes, i.e. even Ethan Page, i.e. Hopefully hand on heart Ricky Starks, Malachi Black I think would be doing a lot better, Andrade, and you know what a great thing that wrestlers have that option that like just it used to be that if your career was going shit, like what are you going to do? You could go to the indies and take like a massive pay cut and hopefully build yourself back up. But is there a promise of that happening? Not necessarily. Or now you've got another promotion that you can go to and it might be better off. And it's not a case of one promotion's better than the other. AEW's better because it pushes Ricochet better. Well, yeah, AEW also has fucked up Malachi Black. AEW's also fucked up this, and this. But then that different wrestlers can work in different places.
Yeah,
It's great.
exactly. And like more spots for everyone, just it benefits everyone. And it used to be, oh, you probably go to TNA, which was always sort of regarded as a step down. And let's be honest, it was and it still is. But AEW is not that step down, it's equal footing. And in terms of quality, exposure, and pay as well, but that's speculative because obviously we don't know. But that's what you'd assume. So yeah, it's really nice to see.
So after Ricochet pinned Takeshita, Fletcher attacks Hobbs and Ricochet with a chair. Davis comes out and pulls Ricochet off Fletcher. Um, and then Lance Archer comes in to no reaction with Brian Cage. Cole comes down. And yeah, he's got the match against Takeshita, so they sort of brawl off and out from the ramp. And Fletcher has a screwdriver ready for Davis, but Ospreay runs in and the babyfaces make the save and stand valiant. So that's nice because last week it wasn't the case. So it's interesting that every week it's different, good versus evil. Who's coming out on top? A lot of different threads there. You've got like all the Callis family stuff. You've got if anyone gives a fuck, Lance Archer and Brian Cage. You've got the Takeshita and Adam Cole stuff. You've got the Davis and Fletcher stuff. You've got Ospreay and him being, him and Fletcher, but then also like the United Empire. Lots and lots going on. Yeah, but yeah, I don't have much more to say about the closing of the show. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think it was nice to see like just babyfaces standing tall because, like you said, we've maybe not had that for a couple of weeks with the sort of not negativity, but like the cloud of like the death rides and all the bad stuff that they've been doing. So yeah, it was nice to see that we've got some good faces now who are really like standing tall at the end of this. So yeah, that was nice to see. I thought it was really nice that Mark Davis came out because I was worried that he was just gonna sort of get lost in the shuffle and it was just going to be a one-off, him turning up last week. So yeah, I guess I just sort of thought that Powerhouse Hobbs sort of got a bit lost in the shuffle of this, which was a shame on his return, but I don't know. I think I'm just being a bit picky there. That's the one thing. I don't know. I feel like just with everything else going on, I think it was easy to forget about him.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame. Maybe he could have had sort of like a moment with Takeshita or whatever. But again, when Adam Cole's the main character, baby, we ain't got time for that. Oh, it's not even shade to Adam Cole because I genuinely love him. It's just like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Oh, it's
Like
not
that's
his
what I mean.
fault.
Nothing. Once Adam Cole is there, now it's like he's like everything gravitates towards Adam Cole. So I mean, it doesn't
Mm.
matter what's going. It doesn't matter about Malachi Black. It doesn't matter. Will Hobbs, fuck that guy. Because as soon as Adam Cole's there, all reasoning and logic is just going out the way because we've got to revolve around Adam Cole for some bloody reason.
Because he is God, apparently.
This show for me, I wrote down 7 out of 10, but honestly, I think 6.5.
Yeah,
7, I don't know, maybe 7, but I do feel like I'm happy to give it a 7, but I definitely feel like I'm being generous with the 7.
yeah. I was thinking 7. Going through it just now, though,
Yeah,
makes me think. But was it
we
worse than
round it
last?
down.
Was it worse than last week? Because I gave it 7 last week. I feel like,
Can't,
and
can't
they're very
remember. This is like
similar.
all fresh in my mind because I've ran through this.
Yeah. Um. Let's go with 6.5.
Okay.
I think you're right in saying that a 7 would be kind of generous. Because although the good parts were really good, I think there was more.
And it overshadowed, like, it was very, the bad was the focal part. It wasn't just like, oh, the women's match was 5 minutes, so we're going to round it down. You know, that does suck, but it's not a focal part of the show. The
Mhm.
focal part of the show being starting and ending practically with Adam Cole and that being bad, it really impacts the tone of the show.
Yeah. I think someone said it in our comments last week or at some point, like the fact that we're not excited about an Adam Cole return sort of speaks for itself.
But we were at the start. We
Yeah,
cried.
yeah. We shed tears, and now here we are. Like that wasn't even that long ago.
Yeah, it's just the handling of it in it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd full gear. We'll see what it brings. I mean, it might be a repeat of last year.
Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows exactly? But there's a lot of good things going on. It's just the good
Yeah.
things that are going on are in like their infancy stage, i.e. the Hurt Syndicate,
Mm.
i.e. like the women's stuff. It's not really amped up because why would it be? We're not at the pay-per-view point yet, so it's just week to week
Yeah. At least.
TV. And while it is nice that towards the end of the show, like everything's interview, like I said, I love cross interaction and Max with Don Callis, and then the Takeshita stuff, and then yeah, I do like it, but in a way, it is quite. It's just a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, Jericho. We've got to remember that we had the Jericho shit on the show as well.
I know, and that always brings it down. But at least at a point. But I guess what I will say is that like this week and last week were based around like the stories and the characters, which was such a
Yeah.
vast improvement from the week previous. So we do feel like we're on the build to a pay-per-view, and we're trying to make that mean something the matches are being built up to. So that is good.
Yeah, and the show went quite fast for me, and like I say, there was like
Yeah, me too.
elements of fun, not totally shitting on it. I'm very much looking forward to the Continental Classic, seeing Okada getting a bit more of a solo push, away from the Bucks.
Yeah, what
They
about
still got
the
to build up the Jack Perry stuff, don't they, with Garcia? Like we didn't get any of that
yeah?
on this show.
Oh yeah. What do you think about apparently like it's the books like it's the end of this story apparently and they're going on a big break type of thing.
Yeah, they're going on a break. They're off to Hawaii, aren't they? Bloody hell, they love Hawaii. But big up Hawaii. Um, but they're going to come back, and I don't know because I know people said they're going to come back as faces. Um, but who knows? Like, that's just speculating. You don't know. No one knows what the
Yeah.
landscape is going to be like when they come back. So maybe their characters will have to adjust. But yeah, they're going away, which yeah, I think they had a real long run as tag titles, tag champions. The Elite had a large presence over the show for the year, and I think, like I say, for Okada and Jack Perry to have a bit of growth, them taking some time off will do good. The tag team has time to flourish and grow, away from just being FTR versus the Bucks. So yeah, but I don't get the impression that like, oh, it's all over, it's all done.
Yeah, that's what I've seen from
Okada's still heel, Jack Perry's still
yeah.
heel, so what are you on
Yeah.
about?
Yeah,
They're just doing their own thing.
that's very true. Very true. Yeah. Well, we've not got anything else to cover, I don't think, have we?
No, that's the show this week. Next week, though, it will be just a warning, a solo show. I'll be taking it. Lucy, sadly, can't make it, but hopefully the week after we will be back together. Like I say, just scheduling and just
Life, isn't it?
it's just yeah. I can't remember the week. Not last week. It was scheduling. We were free on different days, and the week before I was like away, so I couldn't do it. But it's just hard because, like, obviously it's on in the UK at like 1 a.m. till like 4 a.m. And then if I'm working all day and then I get back at like 9:30 at night. Well, by the time I'd watch it, it'd be like 1 a.m. And then if we record, do you know what I mean? It's just, that's why it sort of ends up that way. But
Yeah, we do our best.
yeah, just isn't
with
it?
like squeezing it in with our schedule and stuff. And like when I think we get into the swing of it and we really enjoy it when we can do it like every week and it's the two of us. But sadly sometimes it doesn't work out that way. But we still make it work. And if we have to do solo, then that's the good thing about having two of us is like it's great when there's both of us. But
Yeah.
if one of us can't make it, then the other person can do it on their own, and we've still got an episode to put out. So. Yeah, apologies in advance for not being able to make it next week, but I'm sure you'll do great as usual. And
Oh God, if Takeshita loses, guys, we know
oh,
one to
I'm
balance
gutted
me
I'm not
out.
going to be there for that.
So warning.
Gutted.
Today's week's been so fun though. Like I've really, really missed doing it. Just
Yeah,
like I've had a really good time like chatting about it this week. And again, like I feel like I feel like I'm in the stories now. Like I feel like I've watched. It's so weird. I don't know how to explain it. I can't
Yeah.
imagine like going like obviously missing the odd week of the podcast, but I can't imagine not talking about it now. Like it would be so weird.
it's like when I was a kid and I was watching Raw, for example, and I was like really fresh into
Yeah.
wrestling fandom and I felt really passionately about it, and I just had to go on Twitter and write paragraphs about what I thought about every single match, and no one was reading that shit. But I had to process it in some way. Like there had to be some sort of outlet.
Because no one else gives a fuck in the world.
Literally.
Like, it wouldn't be mint if you could just, like, go in and, like, it was like football and you could just be like, with your boss, like, oh, what did you think at Hurt
Yeah.
Syndicate?
Exactly.
Wouldn't that be class?
And that reminds me of our episode Is Wrestling Mainstream, and if you've not watched that, go watch it, because we kind of went into
Yeah, that was a riot.
you can't just go. It's not like you just said. It's not like football. You don't talk about it with your mates in the bloody staff room, do you? About wrestling, you need to have a podcast or a Twitter account, to reach people who care. So, yeah, that's why I really enjoy doing this, and it's like a therapy session. You just unload it all, and you feel better for it afterwards. So maybe you will feel better when you leave a comment and let us know what you thought of Dynamite this week. And yeah, do you agree with our rating? Would you have given it a 7 or a 6.5? It's maybe higher, maybe lower. That's the great thing about wrestling. Everyone's got different opinions. It's subjective and there's no right or wrong. And thank you as ever for watching. Thanks for all the support. Really do appreciate it. Subscribe or follow if you haven't already. Leave a like and a rating. And yeah, as always, thank you for listening. And we'll see you very soon.
Yeah, see you soon. Bye.
I must bid you adieu, goodbye, you rock, and good night, bang!
I wish you died in the womb!